Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ian here in Beijing, and I'm currently in the 798 Art District, which is a very cool area here in Beijing. I came here because this part of Beijing has a connection to the media industry in China, and I'm hoping that this might give me some inspiration for opening up one big question. And that big question is, can China's movie industry compete with Hollywood? Let's get one thing straight here. This is a huge topic, and I'm just opening up a conversation for others to contribute. In the end, I do reach a rough conclusion, but I'm sure, given that this is the internet, that many people will have their viewpoint. And I'm just one guy with an opinion and a camera. Remember, as my old father would say, every point of view is valid, but not every point of view is educated. Why am I asking this very question? Well, I went to the IMAX theatre here in Beijing to see Avatar 2, and this was a fantastic experience, as you would expect from an IMAX cinema anywhere in the world. The movie was excellent. The story was a continuation of the previous Avatar, given the name, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a big cartoon, and I had some doubts about the movie. I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was thoroughly enjoyable. In fact, I loved the movie, and I would recommend the movie, but it is a blockbuster movie, so you really have to go and watch it at the cinema. So, last weekend, that weekend just gone, I actually went back to the IMAX theatre again. The same theatre, in fact, that I watched Avatar 2 at. Went to see a big blockbuster movie called The Wandering Earth 2. This was, again, another fantastic experience, and every bit as fun as Avatar 2. It was thoroughly enjoyable and really engaging. And it's best, in my opinion, if you watch this type of movie in the cinema. In fact, this was one of the 4 big blockbuster movies released for the Chinese New Year holiday period. The other movie releases were one called Full River Red, which actually just beat The Wandering Earth on revenue. Both Wandering Earth and the Full River Red took about $190 million in the first 3 days of the Chinese New Year holiday period. Then there was 2 other movies that were released. They weren't as successful. One was called Bonnie Bears and the other was called Hidden Blade. Both movies took about $65 million on the first 3 days of the opening of the cinema for the Chinese New Year. So the first 3 days of the Chinese New Year. Remember, this huge 3-day revenue was also taken while Avatar 2 was still running and extremely popular with the audience in China. So you had all these movies playing at the same time, and that was a huge revenue. Sun in my eyes a little bit here, but it's a nice warm day in the 798 Art District in Beijing. So, getting back to the movie. The Wandering Earth 2 was a prequel to the first movie, which was, interestingly enough, called The Wandering Earth Part 1, I think. With The Wandering Earth 2 being a prequel, this is where they are like Star Wars in a way that they were produced not in the linear order. I watched the original movie, Wandering Earth 1, in a movie screen here in China in 2019. The original was impressive in its scope, big movie, blockbuster, and it was enjoyable. But at that time, I did note that it kind of lacked a little bit of the blockbuster sparkle that you would get when you watched maybe a big Hollywood blockbuster movie. The production and the special effects were top-notch, they were fantastic, but there was a couple of things that were missing in the plotline, the quality of the CGI, and the development of the characters. So in the end, to me, it felt that the story was rushed and this reduced the overall quality of the movie. However, the original was a massive success. It took over $700 million at the box office, and it put Chinese movie industry in the sense of making blockbusters on the map. And then came COVID, and that grounded a lot of the global movie industry and pushed up the popularity of the streaming services, so people were watching movies at home. I note here now, the streaming services is a whole other conversation, and this video is really about movies and the making of movies and the industry that supports that. So it was difficult to factor this part of the industry into a short video like this one that I'm doing, but I'm open to any debate around the impact of streaming video on Hollywood. Someplace this. Oh. A very interesting place, a lot of graffiti over the walls, but it's hidden. It's an art district, so what do you expect? It may get noisy here a little bit, there's a lot of traffic coming by, but anyway, again, back to the movie. So Wandering Earth 2 is a big improvement on the first movie, and to be honest, it's an emotional roller coaster ride that it kind of presses on some of the big topics that are bouncing around the world today. Some things like geopolitical conversations, economical impact, environmental level conversations. So there's a lot rolled into this big blockbuster movie. The movie centres around saving the Earth from a global environmental disaster that was caused by the sun burning out. An interesting angle when you think about it, because it's less about what us humans have done to the Earth, more about a natural causation of what was happening. In the movie, humans from all around the world must work together to build large engines to move the Earth, to save the Earth from certain destruction. Against this backdrop, there are human stories that span decades, and this allows us to build a sort of closer relationship to the characters, and we appreciate in the end some of their sacrifice, and it is quite emotional. So at the end of the movie, there's not a single dry eye in the cinema, mine included. So I don't want to give you any plot spoilers, but what I would say is go and see the movie and enjoy it for just what it is. It's a good blockbuster movie. So a couple of things that you may have to be ready for if you are a first-time watcher of a Chinese movie with subtitles. The first thing is the subtitles move really fast, and you can miss some of the translation of the spoken lines, and this was certainly an issue for me during the movie, the Wandering Earth 2. The other thing to prepare for is that Chinese movies can be nationalistic, and in the end it is China and China heroes and Chinese heroics that save the world. This is no different from, say, the American heroes saving the world in something like a Marvel movie. So you've got to just kind of get that in your head. It's a matter of perspective and life experience that helps you understand this factor. One thing I would say, Wandering Earth brings all other nationalities with it in the movie and doesn't make any nationality a scapegoat or a bad guy. And from the nationalistic point of view, it tends to support the success of the teamwork being heroic and in the success of the country and not the individuals. And so for that reason, you do have to watch this movie with an open mind. If you're a Chinese hater, then I would say go see Avatar 2. You will be more pacified and at peace with that movie. Anyway, it's getting a bit cold now, so I'm going to get back to the question. And the question, if you remember, was can China's movie industry compete with the Hollywood machine? This, for me, is a difficult question to answer because you have to really frame up what I mean when I say compete. If I was to frame it as, say, global reach, and production volume, quality and value, then I would honestly have to answer that question with a big no. China's movie industry currently cannot compete with the Hollywood machine. And I'll give you some reasons why I think that is the case, and you may want to debate this in the comments below. But the first thing that springs to mind for me is what I mentioned before, subtitles. Foreign movies with subtitles never do that well in the global market, and that is because of the, I would say, the lazy English speaking audiences, and that will always hold back the global reach of Chinese movies and also something like the Bollywood movies, etc, etc. Another point would be the long legacy or the history of Hollywood. The first movie that was completed in Hollywood was in 1908, so a long time ago. That was a movie actually, it was called Count of Monte Cristo. So the Hollywood movie industry has got a long pedigree. It's been going for a long time. China, yes, is playing catch up. And a quick note here, China, like many other countries, have always been making movies. And I've actually visited the first movie theatre here in mainland China that is situated in Beijing. It's a fantastic place, still shows movies to this day. Hollywood is the longest running and the longest and most successful movie industry endeavour. So they have been at it for a long time, and commercially they have been making a lot of money, more money than any other country, and they have perfected the art of movie making because in reality they have had the funds. Yep. Okay. So, just to continue with the points that I would like to make, and there's a couple now that might be a little bit more sensitive, and one of them.
Hello.
Hello. You okay? 你好.
你好。
你好吗? You okay? Want to say hello to the camera?
直播
YouTube?
是吧？
Weibo? YouTube? So, another thing against working against the bye-bye. Working against it, bye-bye. Working against the Chinese movie industry is maybe that nationalistic theme that I mentioned again. This can jar against your senses if you are a foreigner, and it's because we've seen so many movies where the Western character, they're the heroes, and the baddies are often someone else from some other countries. So when watching a Chinese movie or any other foreign movie, you have to work at it and educate yourself and try and understand. But I am not sure that the English-speaking mainstream movie-going audience will take the time to fully understand that. And that also leads me to another reason why China cannot compete at this moment, and that is onto the sensitive subject of the curation of the message, or what some people will call censorship. Now, I get why people call it that, but I see censorship happening all over the world. So I come to it more of a curation informed sort of aspect. The message is curated in a way to support the success of China, also to promote family and community values, so the movies can be sanitized. However, that said, I am seeing more and more sensitive subjects being addressed in some of the more recent movie releases, and one beautiful made movie that I would say is well worth watching is a movie called Return to Dust. This was a captivating experience and I enjoyed it, and it was a fantastic movie, and these guys are just making me laugh. What's your name?
My name is 赵子欣.
My name is Albert.
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 Albert, give me 5. You make me famous. Thank you. Bye-bye. And this is why I love China.
行。
Yeah.
跟他合影吧。拿住了啊，别给我手机摔下来。
完了，
1, 2, 3, peace.
咋办？咋弄啊？你帮我拍。
OK， 来我
Bye bye.
我来吧。
Bye bye.
OK， 拜
Bye
拜。
bye. Bye bye. This is why China is so much fun. So, without going on for too long, one last point really, and why I came to that conclusion and answered the question with a no, was the superstar reach. So the sort of the star power of the movie industry in Hollywood. The Hollywood actors are everywhere in our lives, and they have been around for years, and they can pop up everywhere in advertisements here in Asia, anywhere they are. Stories hit the press here as well. So they are global superstars. The Chinese superstars, mark my words, they are superstars in their own right, but they are often seldom known outside of the Chinese-speaking world. So I would say that star power is something that China will probably need to try and achieve. But inside China, these guys are superstars. By Harley motorbike going by there. So now, after saying all of that, some of which I'm sure you will agree with or disagree with, and possibly you will have another opinion, put it in the comments below. However, if we are talking about the Chinese movie industry competing on revenue, moolah, money, then absolutely China can compete on revenue. And when it competes on revenue, then the quality of the movies and the production value will no doubt increase. It's not uncommon for a Chinese movie to achieve more than $500 million at the box office and then on subsequent streaming services or so on. Think about it this way, the total movie market in China is estimated to be about $30 billion. That's a lot of money, and a lot of money coming back in to generate better movies, big blockbusters, and to support a growing movie industry here in China. Before COVID, China was the largest movie market in the world, and although they lost that spot last year, I believe, judging by the pace of the reopening here in China and the volume of movies in production, and don't forget the Hollywood movies are arriving here in China, showing in cinemas, then I am sure that the Chinese movie market in turn will be back at the top spot, number one movie industry or the movie market in the world, and that will no doubt have a knock-on effect to the production industry of movies here in China, if that makes sense. So my last comment on this total subject for today is that I do hope that all movie industries around the world are successful, because storytelling helps us all understand each other. I hope that more and more people take the time out to look beyond the traditional English-speaking movie and engage in watching movies from other countries. I can see that happening already, and that excites me for the future of mankind, because we ordinary people might just start to understand each other better, and then we can fight together so we can avoid any scenario that could bring up the need to move the Earth away from its natural orbit to save the planet, or for us all to play out some horrific movie plot line in real life. This is Ian here in Beijing, and as always, saying peace out.
You could try to play it, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less. You check as I'm chess, what's happening next? Yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold an obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing